Hello everybody, Xlelius here, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Fire Emblem 7 Keys. Last time we took on Chapter 17, which is a large, long chapter, but we actually managed to clear it pretty quickly. But that's alright, because we've got another big chapter ahead of us. We are coming to a close on Shay and Elizabeth's stories. So we do have a few longer, more difficult maps for as we approach the end game. So let's take a look at what we're in for. We've got a bridge across this river here. Leads right into a group of enemies. We've got a village here. We've also got a couple of ballistas across these mountains. Finally, that brings us to the boss of this chapter, who is actually the current Empress of the Idrosian Empire. She has some really good stats and a number of threatening skills. On top of that, she's wielding a legendary weapon. Same legendary weapon that the boss of the first generation had, which would have been her grandfather. So it runs in the family. So she is going to be quite a threat to us. Dealing with her will not be easy. We also have a village up here. It's a pretty clear shot up there on normal. On hard mode, there's several enemies added into this area here. And the chapter plays slightly differently on hard mode. But since I'm playing through on normal mode, this is going to be the main battlefield here where we're going to have a lot of enemies to deal with here. This village is also on a little bit of a timer. Not because a brigand's gonna come in and trash the place, but because of events that happen in the chapter, our reward will be different depending on when we visit that village. If we visit it really quickly, we'll get a completely different reward than if we wait until the chapter's almost over. So I'm going to elect not to bring Connor and Lavender just because we haven't been using them. They've fallen behind a bit. We did pick up Albin and Walst last chapter. And while their stats don't look too bad, they're already outclassed by some of our other units. Well, maybe not Lydia, but Lydia's ability to wield a legendary weapon is why we keep her around. So I'm going to go ahead and dump their inventories. Take that brave bow and I'll give it to Truth, since her steel bow is just about broken anyway. Because Lydia can't use it. We do have another Master Seal. And out of the units that we're using, maybe out of all of our units, Felix might be the only one that can make use of it. I think Marta's level 14, so I could promote her. But honestly, Felix is better speed-wise, and all the rest of their stats are pretty much even, so Felix just seems like the better choice anyway. So wherever that Master Seal went, we'll go ahead and we will use that on Felix. He can use swords now, but that's not really a big deal. He's going to be better off with his lances anyway. So I'm not going to worry about giving him a sword. We do have a warp staff I've completely forgotten about and never used. I'll try and remember that this time. Maybe we can use it to speed this chapter up. But I think we're pretty much ready to go now. Should also be worth mentioning that at the end of the last chapter, we did pick up Solemn, which was the legendary sword we got at the end of part 1. So there's not really a whole lot of reason for Elizabeth to have those weapons. We can still carry these for their effectiveness, but we're probably going to end up using Solemn for most everything. So right at the beginning of the chapter, they trash that bridge. So all of our plans of just shooting straight across here and fighting those enemies are gone. We're going to have to go up and around. Alternatively, we could use that warp staff, and we could warp probably Shay and Elizabeth over. We could have Felix and Violet fly them over. That's probably the quickest method of dealing with this chapter. But I'm going to go ahead and try and do it the normal way. Try and work in some of those talk conversations when I see them. In this run, I've not been paying a whole lot of attention to them. I have been pointing out some of the ones that give you items or experience or anything like that, stat boosts. Anything like that, I've been trying to show those off, but just the ones that show you the growth and relationships of characters, I've not really been making too much of an effort for in this run. If you decide you want to play this hack for yourself after watching my playthrough, that's something that I'll leave for you to discover. That'll give you some level of player agency when you can watch the characters grow for yourself. I don't want to spoil too much of the characters' growth and relationships. I can't really say that I don't want to spoil the main plot of the game itself, since you're going to see a whole lot of that watching the playthrough. Go right into it. I would be watching those ballistas a little more carefully, but right now there's nobody in them. So I feel safe doing something like this. Actually got to see Felix proc Luna there. Alright, I don't want to fight all of those guys on my own with Felix. Also, fun fact, this game was in development before, I had planned out most of this game before Three Houses was released. So I had already had all of the characters were already named by that point. So I had already chosen the name Felix for my Wyvern Rider here. And I tried to avoid using names that previous Fire Emblems had used. But I also didn't want to go back and change names when Three Houses ended up using a couple of my names. So because of that, there are a couple of characters like Felix who have recycled names from other Fire Emblems. But also, to be fair, Fire Emblem has recycled several of its own names itself. For example, there's a Hilda in Genealogy of the Holy War, and then there's also a Hilda in Three Houses. And a lot of the map locations in Three Houses are borrowed from earlier Fire Emblems. Was thinking about luring him out with Violet, but I think I won't. We'll hold off on that. Okay, so now there are archers for those ballistas, so we will need to be a little careful. I forgot I had animations on. While I'm thinking about it, I'll go ahead and turn those off. Probably good. Alright, so now we are starting to get quite a few enemies. We are in this forested area, so we could try and turtle here in these trees. But I don't think that's really going to be necessary since most of our units have leveled very well. We should be able to handle the majority of these enemies without needing to abuse terrain. Honestly, that wasn't my best work right there. I could have positioned my units a lot better. I could have positioned people a lot better there, but yeah, this was definitely not my best work. actually. Yeah, I could try and lure the Berserker out this way, over the river. And I won't have to worry about him over here. So I would like to get to that village in the next couple of turns, which I'm not going to be able to do if I play defensively. Well, that didn't go well. Yeah, that could have ended very, very badly. Okay. So we had this large group of reinforcements here, and that should be the end of all of the reinforcements. Like he said, that's all the strength they've got left. So there hopefully won't be any more surprises. Also, hopefully I don't continue to play hopefully I don't continue to play so badly. There was no excuse, there was no reason for me to put Elizabeth into that position. And that could have ended so badly. I lied about the reinforcements. There was totally more reinforcements. I just straight up lied about it. we can reach this village. So if we had arrived here a little bit later, I think we would have gotten an elixir out of it. What turn are we on? We're only on turn 9. We're making good time. I just had to play really badly to do it. But if we had arrived a few turns later, I think we would have gotten an elixir out of it. Because we visited it when we did, instead of getting an elixir, we actually triggered an event that'll happen later. I'm trying to figure out how to deal with these guys without causing any trouble up there. It's just going to involve throwing shade at everything. I think that's just what all of my strategies end up devolving into, is just throw Shay at it. Is there a problem? Use Shay. Strategy. And again, it feels like every Fire Emblem game has that one character that never turns out badly, and you can just throw them into... They can just be your solution to all of your problems. And honestly, in Three Houses, I feel like that's every character. Feels like in Three Houses, almost every character can just become ridiculously overpowered. Alright, I actually have to think about what I'm doing. Yeah, I killed that one stuff. Oh wow. But she does get that damage boost from Shay. So that's why she's able to one-shot everything here. Hopefully that doesn't end up turning against me. who's left up here? We have a swordmaster, hero, a couple armor knights. Yeah, that's a threat. But that's safe. Wasn't necessary, but I'll take it. The absolute mad lad. I'm not really sure why they're attacking him and not Elizabeth. Okay, so the boss of this chapter was actually just betrayed and killed by her own people, so now we don't have to worry about fighting her. If we had actually fought her and beaten her, she would have dropped that legendary axe, which the only character in this generation that can use it is Marta. And only if she's promoted into a Great Knight where she can use axes. So we aren't using Marta in this run, so it's not actually that big of a loss to us. But still, it would have been pretty nice to have. It's another one of those risk-reward things. It's a very powerful enemy who's pretty challenging to take down, but you get a pretty solid reward out of it. Oh, come on. Alright, so that should be everything that we need to do here. We got both villages. Took out all the enemies. All that's left is to seize the gate. So with that, the war is over. And that is the end of Shay and Elizabeth's story. Or is it?